Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. We are going to talk about the digital breast tomosynthesis today for the Mammography Registry review. And this is just the basics. We'll get into the pros, the cons, the advantages of using it, how to educate your patients about it. So with digital breast tomosynthesis, you may see it or hear it be referred to as DBT. Digital breast tomosynthesis takes multiple images of your breast. So it'll be taking the images at different angles. This is different from a 2D mammogram because with the 2D mammogram, it's just take one quick picture. But with the digital breast tomosynthesis, it take more images and the images are being taken at different angles. And you will also hear and see part of the tube head rotating, moving like from side to side whenever you have your patients at the machine. Just take a look for the MLOs and also for your images whenever you see your patient, you'll see that the machine is moving side to side for both views. So how does it work? So we'll do the overview. This is from the Cleveland Clinic where I got this information from. So tomosynthesis, we'll start with the 2D mammogram. So with the 2D mammogram, it takes one image from the top and one from the side. For your technology, is going to use low dose X-ray. So if you're wondering how it works, the breast is, positioned on the detector, and whenever you have the compression on the plate or the breast in compression, you'll take the exposure. It takes about 2 to 3 seconds for the patient to hold the breath and then the image take, and then afterwards they're done. So it's not like a long image like how you would take for your 3D. At my facility, we do the 3Ds in combo HD. If pay attention next time you work in mammography or you're a student in clinic, pay attention to what images y'all are taking for your 3D. So now for the 3D, the tomosynthesis, this is going to take multiple images in an arc-like pattern. This is going to create more detailed images. So with this, it is still low dose, but it also gives more radiation to the patient. I will explain how it does later on in the video. So with this, it does take a little bit longer for you to complete every picture. So when you take the first half, it'll probably be about 4 to 5 seconds. But the patient have to like relax in between, like breathe out, and then they're gonna have to hold their breath because the image is going to take again. So at the beginning, you're going to hear the machine making a beeping noise, and then the patient is going to either be relaxed. It all depends on how you give your patients breathing instructions. So whenever I was a student, I was trained by different techs, but one tech trained me to tell the patient to hold their breath, and then they'll relax, and then they'll hold their breath again. But you also see some techs who just tell the patient to hold still at the beginning, and then they hold the breath at the end. So I'm just giving you different examples of how techs are taught and how they was trained. So that's that. I'm not going to tell you which way is right, which way is wrong. I'm just putting that information out there. So for 3D, this is going to be more sensitive in detecting cancers in breast tissue, especially on those screening and diagnostic mammogram exams. Your mammogram can detect breast cancer easily when it is combined with your digital breast tomosynthesis or your 3D mammogram. That's pretty much the same thing. This is extremely helpful when patients have dense breast tissue. So, are you familiar with dense breast tissue? Do you know what it is? So, pretty much dense breast tissue is whenever there is a higher proportion of your breast that is made up of glandular and fibrous tissues. When you are comparing it just to fatty breast tissue, mammograms are harder to read for patients with dense breast tissue. That's why it's always recommended for anyone, but especially patients with dense breast tissue, to come back annually for their mammograms. And as you can see the image below, you can see the first picture where it say almost entirely fatty, you can see right through this breast. You can, if you are a radiologist, you can catch anything. Even if you are a technologist, you can spot any abnormalities. But with the second picture, you starting to see more scattered fibroglandular densities. And then the third and the fourth, you see that it's starting to become more dense. So if you do not mind, could you all leave me a comment if you all can depict and know the difference between fatty and breast tissue? Do you have problems with correlating which tissue is fatty, which tissue is dense? Just go back to the previous slide that I was at, and you can just look at that image and know which one is fatty, which one is dense, just so it can help you better. For the educational training, I had to do mine. I'm sure you all had to do yours whenever you took your mammography course, either online or through an educational program, through a college. If you could let me know in the comment box, let me know if you went through a college. You do not have to tell me which college if you do not want to, but let me know if you got your training through a college, if you did like self-study on your own through ART, or if you went through another organization that is sponsored by ART and got your CEUs that way, or if you did like an online course, just let me know in the comment box. My course was online. So you have the MQSA, which stands for Mammography Quality Standards Act. They did require that all personnel operating the DBT equipment, they must have 8 hours of initial training before using the mammogram machine that uses DBT. So if you're working at a facility, which is majority of almost every facility that I've worked at, they or know someone who worked at these facilities, they do have 3D at their facility. I don't know, but I'm not saying that there aren't, but I just haven't heard of a facility that just have 2D right now. And I'm sure that there probably is. Someone is still trying to incorporate that 3D to their mammogram units, but for the most part, MQSA, they are mandating, they're requiring for every tech to have 8 hours of initial training before they could use the DBT machine or a machine that has DBT. So these hours can be obtained several ways. You can do them online, like I was saying, as like a self-study pace. You can go to seminars, webinars, training with an apps person, someone who comes into the facility and show you how to use a certain machine. You can train with them. Even another mammography tech or medical physicist can provide this training as well. And then we have things about the mammography equipment with DBT. We have some who has been approved by the FDA to use in the United States. This would be Hologic. That is the machine that I currently work on. I see a lot of facilities using Hologic. Let me know in the comment box if you use Hologic, or actually you can also let me know if you use a different machine, because I know GE and Siemens, I just haven't used it. A lot of places I work at, they mainly use Hologic. And you also have GE, you have Siemens, you have Fujifilm. So which mammography unit do you operate or work on? So a lot of patients, they always ask whenever they come in for their mammogram, especially if it's their first one or if they change insurance companies, they always ask, will this be covered? Is there insurance company is going to pay for it? So Medicare did start to reimburse for 3D mammograms in 2015, but they are very strict on their policy for whenever patients can get their mammogram. So with Medicare, it has to be exactly 1 year, or it can be like a few days over in order for Medicare to pay for those 3D mammograms for patients. But if it's like 1 day under a year, 3 days under a year, they will not pay for it. I've had several patients come in where they try to come in a little bit sooner because it probably was closed, or they thought it was time, or maybe it was more convenient for them. But the insurance company, like Medicare, said they will not approve it or pay for it unless it has been exactly 1 year. Most insurance companies do pay for a 3D mammogram, but there was one situation where I had a patient who just wanted a 2D mammogram because they said their insurance, they knew for a fact their insurance was not going to pay for it. So when things like that happen, where you have a situation where a patient is either refusing to have a 3D mammogram, or if their insurance company was going to deny it or have denied it in the past, just put notes in so that the radiologist can know that you did offer it to them, but it was declined. Whenever I work in mammo, I look at the previous notes that the other techs put in about a patient, because when you look at the notes, you can like know a lot about a patient in under 5 minutes. You can know if they're going to hold their breath, if they're going to hold still, if it's difficult getting the appropriate and the required breast tissue because of different reasons, maybe physical limitations or maybe wheelchair. It could be a lot of reasons why, but just review your notes because it is helpful. And also, I've been meaning to put together this presentation, but I've been forgetting. Let me know in the comment box if you want me to put a video up of the charting system I use. I'm sure every facility uses this charting system whenever you're working in mammography. But let me know in the comment box if you want me to make a video on the proper way of charting on mammogram patients. So if you have any questions on whether or not a company will pay for a 3D mammogram, check with the ladies or gentlemen at the front desk, and they will be able to tell you if it is covered by the patient's insurance or not, especially before you take the mammogram. And worst case scenario, they have to come out of pocket. Not saying they will, but just in case for some reason they have an insurance company who is, very limited on what they're offering the patient. So we have our benefits and our advantages. The benefits are patient callbacks are reduced, dense breast tissue are easily imaged, abnormalities in breast calcifications are easily identified, cancers are revealed that could have been hidden behind those dense breast tissue, and most insurance companies and Medicare will pay for it. So false positive mammogram results are decreased because you're using DBT. So it's catching everything in a nutshell. It's catching everything. Patients do not have to come back because the images are, you can just see right through them pretty much. Even if a patient has extreme breast tissue with those different angles that the DBT is taking of the breast, you're getting every angle, like pretty much like a pizza slice. So we do have some drawbacks with advantages, and it comes disadvantages. So the disadvantage is it is an increase in radiation dose for your patients, an increase in patient motion. So with the 2D, the patient is holding their breath for like 3, 4, maybe no more than 5 seconds. For the DBT, they're holding it a little bit longer. So altogether, they're probably holding their breath for about 10, 12 seconds because the initial breath hold, you're telling them to hold their breath. So that's about 4 to 5 seconds. And then they breathe and then they hold it again closer to the end. So that's another, 4 to 5, 6 seconds. So altogether, it is longer whenever you hear the machine making a sound. It's probably close to 20 seconds. So I don't know in that moment if a patient can hold perfectly still in 20 seconds. So that's one of the drawbacks. So, whenever we have situations like this, it's important to educate your patient because you may get a patient who is probably going to refuse it, or you may get a patient who just accidentally ordered a 2D mammogram online. We have that all the time where patients, you can self-schedule yourself for a screening mammogram online and you choose the wrong kind because you just saw something that said mammogram. You're trying to hurry up and squeeze in and fit in your appointment. So they're accidentally choosing 2D mammograms. So that's when you educate your patient. You say, hey, did you notice that you ordered a 2D or your doctor ordered a 2D, but a 3D mammogram is better and preferred? to have, and then that's when they'll tell you if they do or if they don't. If they say they don't want it, or they ask you, so why, which one is better? That's when you can give them the scenario. Do you all remember? And let me know in the comment box, because I may be telling my age right here, but which I don't mind. I was anyway. So if you remember, because there are like digital cameras, you have your fancy digital cameras where you can download the picture, upload the picture on your computer, or just see it on your camera. Those give you the better crisp pictures. But you also have those cameras like years ago, probably in the 70s, 80s, or 90s, where you took a picture, but you had to go to like a store to get it printed out. So that's kind of like the example I give patients. One is so much better. It's like you can see through, you can see all around it. It gives you like a 3D image. The other one, you really can't see much with it. So you can give them like different examples like that. Most of the time when I do, yeah, I'll go ahead and get it done, whichever one is the best. You can also tell them it decreases their chances of being called back if they get a 3D mammogram, especially if they have dense breast tissue. The 3D is best. So that's it for this video. Thank you all for watching. I just want to give a shout out to these ladies. If you're new to the video, I like to shout people out. These ladies I'm shouting out because they passed their mammo registry review. They went back to one of my videos and let me know that they found my videos to be helpful for them. So they would just let me know that they passed. One lady passed in May of 2025. Another one passed in June of 2025. So if you enjoyed the video and you found it to be helpful, please like, share, and subscribe for more videos. Thank you all for watching. Bye.